book deals and I could not help myself. Nothing good happens, people die, and then suddenly someone's like a murderer or like a stalker, and that's all you need to know. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. For today's video I have a book haul, and I think this is actually my biggest book haul to date. We've got just over 30 books to talk about today, so I'm gonna get into this pretty quickly, but basically just to mention that these are books that I've accumulated over a number of months. Most of these are either thrifted or gifted. I think there are only like maybe like 2 or 3 books that I've actually bought myself with like full price money. Most of these, like I said, are thrifted, so they've been like £1 a book, or they've been gifted to me by lovely subscribers, friends, family, or publishing companies. I've got a bit of everything in this haul. We've got some romance, we've got thrillers obviously, some fantasy, a bit of historical fiction, a bit of everything in today's haul. So without further ado, let's get into the book haul. Okay, so I think I'll start off with the books that have been gifted to me by subscribers. So we've got a few here. The first book I have is One True Loves by Taylor Jenkins Reid, and this was gifted to me by the lovely Sarah. I am a huge Taylor Jenkins Reid fan. I haven't read enough of her books, but obviously Evelyn Hugo is one of my all-time favourites. I love Daisy Jones and the Six, and also Evidence of the Affair, which is a short story by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I just love the way she writes and the emotion that she brings into it, and the real fully fleshed characters she always writes. This one follows the character of Emma, who marries her high school sweetheart, I believe, named Jessie. They have this amazing life together, they are totally in love, and then Jessie goes missing after a plane crash, I believe, or a helicopter, something like that. He goes missing over the Pacific. It is a number of years. Obviously he is presumed dead, so Emma tries to move on with her life, and then she meets Sam and begins to fall in love with him. However, Jessie is then found after these years alive and well, and he's been trying to get home to Emma the entire time. So of course she has to work out now where her heart lies, what she's going to do. This is like such an emotional read. I don't know how I'm going to handle this one, but I'm really looking forward to reading it. The next one I have is His and Hers by Alice Feeney. This one was gifted to me by Nicola. I am so excited for this one. I haven't read any Alice Feeney yet. I'm pretty sure it's her that everyone's talking about at the minute with Rock, Paper, Scissors, I want to say. And that's supposed to be a really good thriller. This one I have heard of and it sounds incredible. So this one follows the character of Anna Andrews, who is a newsreader, I believe, and when a woman is murdered in her village, Anna is reluctant to take the case because her ex-husband is the DCI on the case and he is suspicious of her involvement in it. However, he then becomes a suspect in this murder case and things unravel from there. It says someone is lying and some secrets are worth killing to keep. This just sounds like such a good fast-paced thriller, everything I want. Next I have For the Wolf by Hannah Whitten. This one was also gifted to me by Nicola. She was so generous and I am very, very grateful to her. So this one I believe is like a retelling of Red Riding Hood. Obviously if you know me, you'll know I love retellings, especially when they're done right and when they're done dark and twisty, and that sounds exactly like what this one is. Basically in this world, the first daughter is for the throne, the second daughter is for the wolf. Red is the second daughter to be born in centuries, so of course her purpose is to be sacrificed to the wolf in order to save her kingdom. However, when she is sacrificed to this wolf, it turns out the legends are wrong and he is not a wolf, but he is in fact a man. There is some sort of aspect of magic, I believe, in this, to do with the fact that she is the second daughter and she then has to learn how to harness this. I'm assuming there's a love story with the wolf. It just sounds like such a good read and I cannot wait to get into it. The next one I have is The Library of the Dead by T.L. Huchu, and this one was gifted to me by Kendra. Thank you so much, my darling. This one follows the character of Ropa, who is a ghost talker, and she basically speaks to ghosts and carries on messages to the people that they have left behind. However, everything changes when she hears whispers within the ghost that someone is bewitching children, and she therefore gets herself onto the case to try and work out what is going on here and to stop it. This one just sounds so interesting to me, particularly because it is set in Edinburgh, which is of course my capital city. I lived there for years. Absolutely adore it and I cannot wait to see how this one is done, because to me Edinburgh is just like the pinnacle of ghostly city. Like all of the underground tunnels and bunkers. I've been on ghost walks in Edinburgh. It's just a perfect setting for any sort of ghost tale. So yeah, cannot wait to see how this one is done. Next I have The Wolf Den by Elodie Harper, and this one was actually gifted to me by my mum. She went on a little trip with her friends and she brought me back this book. Little did she know that I had been dying to read it. She literally picked up just a random book that someone recommended to her, and it turned out it was one I had been dying to read, so it worked out pretty well. This one follows the character of Amari, who lives within Pompeii. Hello, anything to do with Pompeii, I am in it. She lives as a slave in one of Pompeii's infamous brothels, and she's basically owned by a horrible, horrible man, and her only purpose is to strike desire in other men. However, she refuses to be broken, and her and the other women of Pompeii sort of band together to try and get their freedom. And this is the first in a trilogy, so I'm so excited to see how it begins and to see how this is done. It is a trilogy of novels reimagining the lives of women in Pompeii. Honestly, that just sounds incredible to me and I cannot wait to read it. The next book that I have was also gifted to me by my mum, and this one is Sula by Toni Morrison. I have heard nothing but incredible things about Toni Morrison, but for some reason I have never read any of her books, which is pretty ridiculous. Hopefully I will get rid of this one soon. It is a very, very short read, and this one follows the character of Sula. Obviously, when she is a child, she shares her dreams and secrets with her best friend Nell, living in the poor black Midwest. Sula then runs away to try and achieve these dreams while Nell stays and gets married. And then 10 years later, Sula returns and no one, least of all Nell, trusts her. She is branded as a witch, and it says Sula is a woman of unpromising power, a wayward force who challenges the smallness of a world that tries to hold her down. This just sounds like such an incredible feminist read, which I know Toni Morrison is known for, particularly through her representation of black female characters. And yes, I think this is again going to be a very emotional and powerful read, but one that I cannot wait to get around to. Okay, so now I'm going to just go through all the books I have bought myself, either with full price money or thrifted, as I mentioned earlier. The first few that I have here I've actually already mentioned a number of times. I did a video where I did a come book shopping with me for spooky books online, so I'll of course link that down below and up above if you want to look at that, because that is when I bought all of these books. So I've mentioned them before, and also in my Spoopathon vlogs, because I did read most of these for Spoopathon throughout the month of October. So I'll just very quickly run through these ones because I have mentioned them previously. But first of all, I have Mina and the Undead by Amy McCaw. This is a YA murder mystery supernatural vampire type book. It is the first in a series. The second one has just been announced to come out next year, which I am so excited for. And this one follows the character of Mina, who goes to New Orleans to visit her sister, and while she is there, someone starts murdering people according to legends of New Orleans of previous supernatural killings. They're doing these murders in the same way, and Mina is pulled into this when someone frames Libby for one of these murders. So of course Mina must investigate to try and find out what is going on here. And this one, you will know if you've been watching my channel, I absolutely loved. The New Orleans setting was incredible, the characters were great, the reveals were amazing. Yeah, would highly recommend that one. Next I got Fangs by Sarah Andersen, and this is a graphic novel which tells the love story between a werewolf and a vampire. That is about all you need to know about this one. It is so good. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. It is hilarious, just filled with vampire and werewolf puns the whole way through, and it's just such a cute love story as well. It took me about 10-15 minutes to read, so if you're looking for a quick, funny, cute read, this is the one for you. Next I got Kill Creek by Scott Thomas. Again, I absolutely adored this one. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars, I believe. But this one is a haunted house horror, and it was my first of the genre. I cannot wait to read some more. We basically follow 4 horror authors of different styles who are pulled to the Finch house in Kill Creek, which is an abandoned haunted house that has not been lived in for many, many years because of the various things that have happened within it. They are asked to go to this house on the night of Halloween and stay over as part of a publicity stunt. However, when they are there, they wake up some sort of entity and it follows them home and torments them. And that's all you need to know. But Would highly recommend. The next one I got was Fear Street by R.L. Stine. I never actually got round to reading this one, but I do plan to. If not soon, maybe I'll hold on to it for next October, next sort of spooky season. But I'm always in the mood for spooky books anyway, so it'll probably get picked up before then. This one I bought because I loved the Fear Street movies on Netflix. However, this does not follow the same stories. This is the beginning, and it includes The New Girl, The Surprise Party, The Overnight, and Missing. And these are 4 stories, a collection about Fear Street and the origins of how it began and how it became this cursed place where nothing good happens, people die, it's dark, it's spooky, it's ominous. That's about all I know. I don't really want to know anymore. I want to go into this fairly blind, but I am looking forward to reading it. And the final book I bought in that video was Tomie by Junji Ito, which is of course a horror manga. It was my first Junji Ito, though I've been looking forward to reading his works for a long time. This one follows the character of Tomie, obviously, who as a young girl is murdered in a very horrible, violent way, and as a result she keeps coming back after her death to torment other people, and she basically makes them fall in love with her to the point of obsession, and to the point that they then kill her in like a jealous, obsessive rage. And that's basically it. This is like a collection of lots of short stories, all with the same formula. This just keeps happening. She keeps coming back, but in different ways to different people in different circumstances. And yeah, artwork is incredible, stories are bizarre and wonderfully weird. It was just everything, and I can't wait to read more Junji Ito. Next, I have the only middle grade, I think, within this haul, and that is Amari and the Night Brothers by B.B. Alston. This one I've heard nothing but incredible things about. I've been dying to read it for so long now because everyone is going on about it. So when I saw it in my local Morrison's for like £4, I had to pick it up. So this follows the character of Amari, and says at the top she knows 3 things. Her brother Quentin has gone missing. No one will talk about it. His mysterious job holds a clue. She is then invited to join the Magical Bureau of Supernatural Affairs, where she will complete missions in a world where all these supernatural creatures like werewolves, mermaids, aliens, all of that jazz exist. And she starts to discover her own magical power, and through the bureau she realises she may be able to find out where her brother Quentin has gone missing to. All she has to do is complete 3 tryouts. And I'm so excited for this one. I always love the idea of like tryouts and like getting through missions or getting through tests or things like that. So yeah, I think this is going to be such a fun quick read, and I cannot wait to get around to it, hopefully very soon. The next one I actually bought on the same day. Clearly I was in Morrison's and I saw the book deals and I could not help myself. But this one is The Girls by Lisa Jewell, and if you know me, you will know I am a huge Lisa Jewell fan. I absolutely adore her thrillers. I eat them up within a matter of hours, and I'm sure this one will be no different. This one, it sounds so good. It is a very sort of like suburban life closed community thriller, which is one of my favorite types. And basically these people live in this community, they all think they know each other, they all trust each other, and then a girl is found unconscious in a dark corner of the garden. What happened to her and who is responsible? That's all I know. It sounds so good. I always love that idea of like this close-knit community where everything is perfect, everyone trusts each other, and then suddenly someone's like a murderer or like a stalker or something. And yeah, cannot wait to get around to that one. The next lot of books I have are actually a series, and that is the Vampire Academy series by Rochelle Mead. I'm actually currently on the 3rd one. My original thought was to do like a how many can I read in 24 hours or how many can I read in a week. However, that didn't really go to plan with my busy uni schedule at the minute, so I'm just slowly making my way through them, but I am enjoying them nonetheless. There are 6 books in the series. It is slightly annoying that I don't have the same editions for all of them, but because they are thrifted, that just wasn't going to work out. And honestly, it's kind of nice that they're like a little bit mismatchy and that the last one is the red one. I kind of like how that worked out. But these books, if you don't know, are YA vampire books, your typical YA vampire books that I would have been obsessed with in high school and I'm becoming obsessed with again. But these follow the character of Rose. She's learning how to be a guardian for the vampires, and particularly for her best friend Lissa, who she has a special bond with that no one has heard about for years and years, where she can feel everything that Lissa feels, so she can always know how to protect her. That is the basic premise of it. Things happen, they go to school, there's high school drama, there's boy drama, there's bad vampires and good vampires, all of that jazz, lots of fun. Fast read, typical YA vampire, but loving it so far. Next up, I have Conversations with Friends by Sally Rooney, and I actually bought this one because of the hype that has been going on with Sally Rooney recently and her incredible writing, and I was not let down. I did actually read this one in a recent vlog. Again, I will link that down below for you, but this one follows the character of Frances, who is a young woman living in Dublin with her best friend and actually ex-girlfriend Bobby, and they write and perform spoken word poetry, but they are then befriended by a journalist named Melissa and her actor husband Nick, and this weird sort of friendship between the four of them starts, and then Frances and Nick become a little bit too close, and there's all sorts of friendship relationship dynamics in this, but my favourite thing about this is just Sally Rooney knows how to write humans. She knows how to write raw, honest emotions, and watching Frances go through all of her thought processes and how she thought about everything was going on, it was just so relatable. And yeah, if you've not read Sally Rooney, I would highly recommend. Next up, I got An American Marriage by Tayari Jones. This one I've heard so much about for a long time now because it was shortlisted for the Women's Prize for Fiction in 2019, but I've not got around to reading it yet. So this follows newlyweds Celestial and Roy, who are living the supposed American dream. They are a young African American couple. Everything seems to be going well, and then Roy is arrested for a crime that Celestial knows he did not commit, and he is sentenced to 12 years in prison. And when he is in prison, Celestial is obviously trying to get through this. She finds comfort in their best friend Andre, and then all of a sudden Roy's conviction is overturned and he returns home to his wife. Sounds like an incredible story about racism, relationships, and everything that is wrong with the United States. So yeah, really looking forward to that one. I think it'll be a very emotional and powerful read. Next, I have a few thrillers that I again thrifted from a charity shop. My favourite place to get thrillers always. So the first one I have is The Taking of Annie Thorne by CJ Tudor. This is my first CJ Tudor book, and again I do have a reading vlog in which I read this one, so I will link that down below. This one I wasn't as impressed with as I expected to be, but I did still enjoy parts of CJ Tudor's writing. In this, we follow a man who, when he was a child, his sister went missing. People assumed the worst, and then she came back a number of hours later, but she would not speak about what happened to her while she was away, and she was a changed child, terrifying her brother. And then a number of years later, he is an adult and he gets an email in his inbox saying, "I know what happened to your sister, it's happening again." So he returns home to his childhood town to try and work out what is going on, what this email means, what happened to his sister, all of that jazz. And it started off as a very sort of gritty, exciting, dark thriller, and it turned into something completely different. That's all I'm going to say on that one. Try it if you're interested. Next, I have Little Darlings by Melanie Golding. This one follows two women. First of all, we have Lauren, who in the middle of the night has a disturbance at her home, and she is convinced that someone has come to take her two newborn twins, so she locks herself in the bathroom with her sons until the police arrive. Yes, Joanne Harper is picking up like all the reported overnight incidents, and this one catches her eye because obviously it's an attempted abduction that 50 minutes later was ruled a false alarm. She chooses to investigate this anyway. There's nothing on the CCTV, but Lauren claims that this woman is still after her children. So Harper must ask, is Lauren mad, or does she see something no one else can? This is supposed to be a very haunting thriller that will get under your skin. My favourite, so hopefully I will love it. Next up, I have The Little Friend by Donna Tartt. Most of the time when you hear about Donna Tartt, you hear about The Secret History. I have yet to read that one, but I do plan to, hopefully soon. But when I saw another by her in a charity shop, I had to pick it up. This one looks so creepy. I am so excited for it. So this one follows the character of Harriet. She is 12 years old, living a very hard childhood. Her mother is constantly on medication. Her father has picked up and moved to another city, and her sister doesn't really seem to be there. She doesn't notice anything. They're all still suffering from the shocking and mysterious death of her brother Robert, who died a number of years earlier. It seems like the family are never going to recover, so Harriet sets out like her favourite bookish heroes to go on an adventure to try and find out what happened to her brother. But what starts off as a child's game soon becomes a dark and dangerous journey into the menacing underworld of a small Mississippi town. This one is quite a hefty one. It sounds like a good read to me. It sounds like a thrilling one. It sounds very dark. I'm not sure how dark it's going to get, but I'm very, very intrigued. Next, I have Just My Luck by Adele Parks. I have heard a few things about Adele Parks, I believe. I feel like her books come up every now and again, but I have never read any of them. And this one follows two couples who have always played the lottery together as like a foursome for like 15 years. They always play the same numbers whenever they're together, like over dinner parties or little get-togethers. But then one Saturday night, the unthinkable happens. There's a rift in the group. Someone doesn't tell the truth, and soon after, 6 numbers come up which change everything forever. Lexi and Jake have a ticket worth £18 million and their friends are determined to claim a share of it. That's all I've got on that one. It sounds interesting. I'm not sure how it's going to go from there, but my gal Lisa Jewell says it's a gripping story of greed, lies and dark family secrets, so I trust her. The final book that I got that was thrifted is the one that I got for my blind date with a book, which is the video that I put up last week and what I said I was going to turn into a series. Got this one at my local Costa. Yeah, I read it for a vlog where I opened it up and had my blind date with a book. If you've not watched that video yet, I will link it so you can go watch that and then come back before you are spoiled. But the book that I did get was Private Games by James Patterson. This one clued me into the fact that I am not a huge James Patterson fan. In this one we basically follow a number of characters, but the premise is this detective is on the case trying to figure out who this killer is, who is killing off people to do with the Olympic Games. It's set in London in 2012 and he has this great agenda against the Olympic Games. He thinks that it's changed from what it once was, and he is killing off people who have anything to do with it and also creating massive scenes of violence within the games. That's about all you need to know. I didn't hugely enjoy this one. It was a very fast read, but for me it was all very superficial. There were no fleshed out characters, no fleshed out scenes, but I can see why people would enjoy just a nice, quick, easy read. It's not really too intellectual. It doesn't take much like thinking. You can just switch off and read it. So if that is your vibe, James Patterson is definitely for you. It just wasn't for me. And finally, I have some books that I received from publishers. First of all, I have 4 books that I received from Hamley Books, who are a Dutch publishing company, and they have recently started translating their books into English, so they asked if they could send over a few of those to me, and they actually ended up sending me 4. So they sent me 3 books by the same author, who is Joanne Carlton, who I'm assuming is quite a famous Dutch author. I had never heard of her before. But first of all, they sent me Heartbeat, and this follows 2 best friends named Sam and Jasper. They are unbelievably close. They have been through a lot together in life, and then they find out that Jasper is terminally ill and he is determined to make every minute he has left count, and his last wish is to sing in front of an audience. Sam obviously does everything that she possibly can to make this dream come true before she loses her best friend, and it's all about them trying to make this happen while also dealing with the fact that they have to say goodbye. And yeah, it sounds like a very, very emotional read, but I am looking forward to getting round to it. The next one I have by Joanne Carlton is called Dust, and this one is a sci-fi book, I believe. So in this one, on August 4th, the dust poisons the world. 3 weeks and millions of deaths later, the end is near and there are no miracles left except for one, a miracle that needs Simon James. On the final day, the former husband and father faces the ultimate dilemma. Should he attempt to survive in a dead world to prevent mankind's extinction, or should his life end today like everyone else's? Simon doesn't want to be the one left behind when all that he ever knew is already gone, but choice was never an option. His fate has already been decided for him. When the world comes to an end, would you want to be the last man standing? Not my usual cup of tea, but I am looking forward to it all the same. The next one I got from Hamley Books, which was also a Joanne Carlton book, is Hell City, and this one I've actually already read. I read it at the start of November, so there will be more on my thoughts in my November wrap-up, but this one was an incredible read. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. It follows this young girl who wakes up in a burning city, or hell, and she must sort of complete these trials, these battles with different monsters in order to sort of move on, I guess. But there is a lot more to this. It turns out to be a very emotional, moving read, and one that I would highly recommend getting your hands on. It is a novella, so it is a very quick read, but it was incredibly powerful and exciting as well. So yeah, highly recommend. And the final book that I received from Hamley Books was Unsinkable by Lottie van den Noort, and this one is based on one of the world's greatest conspiracy theories, and that is to do with Titanic. It follows Catherine Thompson, who wants nothing more than to head to America and build her dream life with her fiance, and she gets a job as a chambermaid on the Titanic, which is an opportunity she eagerly accepts. However, her brother does not want her to set foot on the ship because Titanic is doomed to sink, and not just because of an iceberg. That's all it says. This sounds like a really interesting read. I don't really know too much about Titanic or the conspiracy theories involved, but I do like a historical fiction and I have not read one in a while, so yeah. Looking forward to this one. And the final book I have in this rather large haul is Everything Within and In Between by Nikki Barthelmess, and this one was sent to me by Harper 360. It is a YA contemporary and it's one that I am very intrigued by. We follow Reid, whose heritage is Mexican, but she lives in America and she is told that we do not speak Spanish, we speak English, and we are American. So she is sort of denied all of her roots and all of her ancestry by her grandmother, who she lives with. And then she finds a secret unanswered letter from her mum begging for a visit. So Reid decides to reclaim what her grandma kept from her, a language and a mother. But nothing goes as planned, and Reid is beginning to realise that nobody has any idea of who she really is, not even Reid herself. So yeah, just sounds like an incredible story of identity, different cultures, and one that I think I will really enjoy when I do get round to it. So that is it. That is my huge book haul of 30 plus books. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope that you maybe got some good recommendations in there. If from these you can think of any books that you think I would enjoy, then please do comment them down below. If you made it to the end of this video, then today's emoji, purely because this is the first book I've seen, pop the paperclip emoji in the comments down below, just so that I know that you've made it to the end of the video and that you enjoyed your time here. But as always, if you did enjoy this video, then do please give it a big thumbs up, subscribe for more bookish content from me, comment down below with any of your thoughts and feelings. I do reply to every single comment. I love you all and I will see you in my next one.